Christian rap is hip-hop's dirtiest term. No one likes it, not even the Christians. It's all happening.
Static selector.
Rude Jude and I debated whether Nelly is underrated on the All Out show this week. Links in the description, check it out. But the MC Hammer comparisons came up almost immediately. Massive success, huge crossover appeal, official pop star status. It applies to both Nelly and Hammer. In 1990, Hammer was one of the biggest artists in the world. Please Hammer Don't Hurt Him was #1 on the Billboard charts for 21 weeks. The project went diamond, reportedly as the first rap album to do so. End up selling upwards of 22 million copies. He had his own pants, Hammer pants. His hair was luxurious. You Can't Touch This was astronomical. This song, Pray, was an early favorite. Roll the clip out. That joint jam, Teddy, jam for me. Another 90s throwback. True story, the Please Hammer Don't Hurt Him album actually came with a movie as well. I'm not sure if they came together, but they released a movie called Please Hammer Don't Hurt Him that had all the songs from the album in a row being acted out. It was surprisingly deep. Had dinner last night with Pep Love from Hyro and his partner Charlize. We were talking about MC Hammer history for an hour and change. The wildest part about Pray to me is that it samples Prince's When Doves Cry, which is a classic record and the definition of the 5-tier song. Artists owning their music was extremely important to Prince, and he wasn't letting nobody sample his songs. Seriously, my man wrote slave on his face and changed his name to a symbol for a reason. So Hammer getting his hands on a couple of Prince beats is a supreme outlier. He talked about gaining the rights to those songs and his relationship with Prince in an interview with the Daily Beast. On Please Hammer Don't Hurt Him, he said, my second biggest song on the album is called Pray, and it's based on When Doves Cry by Prince. And I'm the only artist that Prince ever allowed to sample his song. On that same album, one of the final 2 songs on the album is called She's Soft and Wet, and it's from one of the first albums in Prince's career, and he let me cover that. Also, the entire Too Legit to Quit album was made at Paisley Park with Prince. Big time, so I was there for 2 months with him. Prince was immensely spiritual, and Pray is absolutely a spiritual song, so this pairing may make more sense than it seems. I like this point here though. In 2005, when Hammer put his copyrights and his publishing up for sale, only 75% of Pray was actually available because Prince still owned the other 25%. Another true story. By every measure, Pray was a huge success for Hammer. Classic samples, supremely danceable, church ready, much like Kanye West's Jesus Walks. That song separated Kanye from the rest of the rap industry. He believed in that song so much, he released 3 videos for it and spent $550,000 reportedly out of his own pocket on the second and third. Jesus! Then there was Malice. Malice was always my favorite member of Clips. I gravitated towards his insight, especially on Hell Have No Fury. In 2012, he changed his name to No Malice and dropped all negative themes from his music. Last year, he put out a documentary called The End of Malice, where he detailed his pilgrimage. We had a conversation about all of this back in 2016, but I wanted to know whether he considered his new music Christian rap. Here's what he told me. Roll the clip out.
From what I've experienced, because I've met some Christian rappers, and one of which is my homie Bizzle, and I really love the way that he does things, and I respect the genre, I don't believe that's what I am. My Bible tells me, remember where you were when you were called. So I know that I need to talk to that same platform. God didn't turn his back on me and say, you a rap, I ain't dealing with you. Nah, he came and got me, showed me the truth. And so I have to reach back and extend my hand to my brother. What I see in Christian rap, from my observation, is that they rap about the truth. And they rap to those who understand what they're saying. So, I get it. I think it's meaningful, purposeful. That it's not what I do though.
Salute to No Malice again. His new project, Let the Dead Bury the Dead, is coming August 18th. Make sure you check it out. Loop 45 is my joint. But No Malice sounds a lot like Lecrae sounds these days. Lecrae has one of the most interesting backstories in all of hip hop. He's from Texas. He went to North Texas College. He pledged Kappa Alpha Psi. That's the fraternity Lil Uzi Vert stole half his shimmy from, even if he didn't. He was a drug dealer that used the Bible as a good luck charm. He went to a church conference one day hoping to meet chicks when he was 19 years old, but was instead inspired by Christian hip-hop act The Cross Movement and began writing inspirational rhymes. In 2004, Lecrae co-founded Reach Records with Ben Washer and built his own following through Cross Movement's Christian audience. 13 years later, he sold millions of records. He has a Billboard #1 album, 2014's Anomaly. He's won 3 Grammy Awards. He wrote a book, gave a TED Talk. A master's student from Northern Iowa wrote her thesis on him. He's pushing into the mainstream and yet still pelted with a surprising amount of hate from his core demographic, largely because he doesn't embrace being labeled a Christian rapper. Rather, he's a rapper who's also a Christian. His BET Awards acceptance speech was heavily criticized by many of his core fans as compromising his Christian values. He thanked Lauryn Hill and Chance the Rapper and Kendrick Lamar and said all the artists were making music for the same reasons, to inspire. Clearly the messaging wasn't as unifying as it sounds. Check these YouTube headlines. Christian Twitter goes off after Lecrae accepts award. And Lecrae compromised with BET Awards acceptance speech. So when Lecrae visited the cruise show and reiterated that he doesn't want to be labeled a Christian rapper, Mario, the vigilant Christian, a one-time Lecrae fan and now super critic, had enough and shared this video with his 500,000 strong subscriber base.
Let me explain this very clearly. How do we know 100% Lecrae is a sellout now because he's compromised? This right here. His mission is not the gospel. It's not the salvation of lost souls. It is to inspire people. Just like Kendrick Lamar does. My goodness. Another big reason, this guy's a sellout, is the people that he's now yoking himself with, exposing his Christian audience to secular worldly artists like T.Y. Dolla $ign in this song called Blessings. By the way, this is T.Y. with his big demon on his chest, sitting in his bathtub of weed.
You mean to tell me all this time I've been bumping T.Y. Dolla $ign and I didn't know he had a demon on his chest? I should punch myself in the face. But these are the challenges that Lecrae faces these days. Being derided by the devout because of who he's yoking with, by not repping righteously enough. Look, moving to the center is a very thin slice, a very precise cut. And Lecrae's embrace of the mainstream comes with its own special persecution. But why even do it? Why is this even worth it? I honestly question why Andy Mineo, John Gibbs, Derek Minor, Thistle, or any artist with Christian leanings would ever want to move to the mainstream. There's 50 million Christians in America and 2 billion around the world. That's a huge, hyper-passionate market. Wouldn't it be more fruitful just to rock the Christian rapper term like a Jesus piece? I asked Derek Minor about that. He actually schooled me on a few things. Check this out.
I wish it was that basic, but it's really nuanced. So let me throw the nuances to you. 50 million Christians, right? For most Christians, when they think of hip-hop culture, it's hard for them to separate the idea of culture that is mainstream and the idea of a Christian. When people become a Christian, oftentimes they cast their culture. Let's just be honest. The top 20 songs on Rap Caviar or whatever, a lot of the music is about hedonism. It's about, smoke what you want, do who you want, I'll take your girl, I'll shoot you, I'll do this. So most Christians, when they get, quote unquote saved, they're like, okay, I gotta get rid of the dirty stuff. And usually hip hop is one of those things. You would think that Christians would embrace Christian rap with open arms, but oftentimes they don't. Like, this is new to a lot of people. Like, in their mind, they're like, hold up, you're a Christian and you rap? Wait a second. Like, I don't know how that matches because the only thing I know is mainstream music.
Now that was a fresh thought for me. I hadn't considered how simply the act of rapping can be considered taboo simply because it comes from broader culture. There's a book by Andy Crouch called Culture Making. It talks about how Christians tend to separate themselves or view themselves differently from the culture at large. So it's like, hey man, I love your message, but that technique, hell, that's a huge moat to have to cross just to get close to your core demographic. What else you got, Derek?
And that's why it seems like a dirty word to people that are Christian and to people who aren't Christian. So for us, the most logical place for us to fit is, in my opinion, elite mainstream music is like, you can be Chance the Rapper, you can be Kendrick Lamar, you can be Young Thug, or you can be Tech Nine. They all have different things about them, and you know, they all have different perspectives. But oftentimes with Christianity, unfortunately, people create extra rules within Christianity that don't even. So for myself, I remember when I first started rapping, people told me I was going to jail, and I was rapping about not doing drugs. I was rapping about all this stuff, but it's just because they can't separate the actual art from the culture. So that 50 million is probably.
Derek Minor made one last point, which is probably the biggest challenge any Christian rapper or rapper with Christian leanings has when it comes to breaking into the mainstream. Here's what he says. He says the reason why Christian rap becomes a dirty word also is because there have been people that have had good hearts to make great Christian art, but at times they haven't had the resources or talent to do it. So it's like, oh, that's Christian rap? I don't want no parts of it. I'd rather not listen to Christian rap at all. I'd rather just listen to regular rap because it's good. Because it's good. Christian hip-hop feels like an island without a nation. It's not a great fit for gospel or for contemporary Christian music. There's a stigma within Christianity that the act of rapping is at best secular, at worst hedonistic. There's a stigma within the mainstream that Christian rap is whack. Christianity as a whole is shrinking, it's less popular than it has been, and the believers are becoming more devout, screaming louder, fighting for their beliefs, being more critical of their messengers. It's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Lecrae explained his perspective in his book Unashamed and on Misconception 3, which is on Church Clothes mixtape that came out last year, but it makes sense why No Malice separates what he does from CHH, Christian hip hop. It makes sense that DMX will pray on his album, but he'll also rob you, or that Kanye will make a gospel song with a lot of cursing and stick his fist in you like a civil rights sign. It makes sense that despite the gratuitous Christian overtones on MC Hammer's Pray, for example, one word he never actually says: Jesus. As soon as you decide to fully carry that cross, you never really fit anywhere. Sometimes the metaphors write themselves. The point is this: I've seen Lecrae kicking it during Epic Fest, during Rock the Bells, during BET Week, during Grammy Week. He's authentic everywhere he walks. But can any artist who has a sizable Christian fan base ever really escape the Christian rap label? He always compares himself to Kendrick Lamar and Chance the Rapper, but does he make the kind of music that's actually that competitive next to those guys? Or are the accolades flowing because he's swimming in a smaller pond? On a macro level, at a higher level, Islam doesn't have any of these problems. Hip hop seems to love Islam. Why is that? I don't have the answer to these questions. Every Saturday, you know what time it is. Thank you guys for rocking with us. The larger story at play this week is a conversation about marginalization. When people try to put you in the box, people hate getting put into the box. People hate labels of all kinds. To some degree, they provide a measure of comparison that can be helpful when sharing or selling your art. On the other hand, if there's one population of people that really hates labels, really hates being put in a box, it's artists. Female rappers hate being called female. Conscious rappers hate being called conscious. Mumble rappers hate being called mumble. We're gonna look at each of these separately in a series going forward called Marginalized. This was the first look into this, and I think Christian rap is a great place to start. Let us know what you think about this. We're gonna close out today with a quote from Thistle, and Thistle gives some pretty interesting insight into why he believes Lecrae and moving to the middle is important for him. We're going to take a look at that after this, but before we get to that, Last 7, check it out. Ambrosia for Heads, new series just launched, hosted by yours truly, counting down the top stories over the last 7 days. It's on A4H TV. Make sure you check that out. Subscribe to the channel. Like and subscribe this channel as well. Let me know what you think about this Christian rap conversation. Do you guys actually just think it's kind of whack? Does religion have a place in hip hop at all? Chime in the comments section. I'm Justin Hunt. Follow me at The Company Man on everything. Paradigm is shifting. Paradigm is shifting. Paradigm is shifting. It's all happening.
You have a community of people that are Christians that love hip hop, but don't want what. Now I wouldn't even say it large. You have a group of people inside that love hip hop that don't want hip hop with the vow, with the messages of murder, you know, exploiting women sexually, just the boisterousness of money. They want to hear music that's redemptive, that's talking about culture, but talking about it in a different way. But then you got people that will listen to everything that's out. So I think the reason that you can't understand why, I see this much from an artist that doesn't want to be called a Christian rapper, and that says it boxes me in. So you have people within the Christian community. If you say I don't want to be called a Christian rapper, it's like, oh, you've abandoned the faith, right? You're ashamed of Christianity. It's like, nah, that's not true. You know, you got different people saying for different reasons, but I'm one of those people that I understand why a person will say it from this perspective.